who was paying attention to the big issues in the world, and he wanted to stand for what was right, regardless of its popularity. And so to be around someone with that kind of conviction was particularly touching. And for all of us as young people, and I'm certain that it hits all of us at different times, but as 18, 19, 20-year-olds, we couldn't really put it all together. But now, at 43, you start to understand why he did what he did. And what's amazing is that you remember pieces that he would teach you, the thoughts for the day from practice, that sure, they had something to do with basketball at that time, but it has to do with today, and it has to do with tomorrow. And that's the kind of forward thinker that he was, and he integrated that into everything that we did.
You talked about lessons that he taught you. What is the thing that maybe stands out the most for you? What that he taught you that you use probably every day?
I think the one driving memory that I have in how he impacted my life is that do something for others. Make sure that you make an impact in other people's lives, make their lives better. And he gave us an opportunity to see, to visit kids at children's hospitals. He took us to Butner Prison to practice in some of the most forgotten faces in our society, and gave us experiences that started to turn our minds and say, what's important to us? And then he said, take the passion you have for basketball and apply it towards those things, because that's where you would really find fulfillment and enrichment. And so without question, it was his desire for us to be impactful in the community.
On the sidelines, he wasn't necessarily very emotional. But when you guys,
yes, he was.
Well, he didn't show it overly outwardly.
No,
but when you won the national championship, the smile on his face was a little uncharacteristic of him on the court.
Well, I think that Coach had many layers of satisfaction. I think that his greatest satisfaction was seeing achievement in the eyes of folks that he had mentored. He didn't need someone to tell him he was great. He wanted to see it being told to the people that he had taught. That to him made him happy. He was genuinely happy when we were receiving accolades and praise, and I think that that's what a parent feels. That's what a great mentor feels, and that's why there's so many people that have such a reverence for him, because it was never about Coach Smith. It was always about someone else, and I think that when you look at the sincerity with which he delivered that message, it was easy to put your arms around him with that.
What's the Carolina community kind of going through today, and when you talk to them?
Well, we've known for a long time that this day was coming. I mean, I think that it's very difficult. It doesn't diminish the loss that primarily, you think about the loss of a father for his children, a spouse, a husband, grandfather. You look at the immediate family loss, and then you extend it beyond. But I think that the first thing we think about is their family, and then we think about the Carolina community. And although we've recognized that this day was coming, it's still an abrupt point. And I think that it gives us a chance to really examine the legacy that he has been working on for a long, long time. And doesn't that make us all smile that forever he will be felt? And I think that that's the thing that, at least when it's all said and done, for me, that's an important piece, to be able to think about how do people view the impact you've made on humanity. And that's something that, I think that he's likely up top getting a pat on the shoulder saying, well done.
Contrary to public opinion, a lot of coaches that I've talked to that went up against him said he was the most competitive person they ever faced at any level in sports or otherwise. As a player of his, how did you see that competitiveness come through?
Well, I think it's a great question, and I think that his competitive spirit probably is best defined by the amount of preparation that he put in to his work. All of us recognize that when you're the most prepared, you're the most confident and the most comfortable. And he wanted to make sure that we as his players were very confident and comfortable with the material that we had to have in order to achieve success. And for us, it was out on the court, but it was also outside of the court, and he wanted to educate us in a lot of those ways. So his preparation was meticulous, and the driving force in so much of his success.
Do you remember a time